Hi everyone, welcome to Dave's Bonsai. On today's episode, the wind-swept elm. Yes, one of Candice's gems. I'm going to tackle the repot. Welcome to Bonsai Acres. Welcome everyone into the passive solar green frame where I get to tackle a tree that I've been really looking forward to tackling. And that is the elm tree, the windswept elm from Candice, our good friend Candice. And we've got it wired up from this past winter. We got this beautiful pot that she acquired, and we're going to kind of see what we can do with this tree. So we're going to dig in. I must apologize to everyone for one of my last episodes. A viewer commented how the new angle from over the shoulder really kind of, well, let's be frank, it kind of sucked. And it kind of sucked because it was really bright and you could see the sunlit stuff up here, but not the whole thing. Well, lo and behold, today, I'm very glad to report that it's actually an overcast day, which for filming is fantastic. For filming, that's what we want. We want overcast days so it becomes a neutral density filter and we don't have a lot of shadows in areas of the video that you just can't see. So my apologies for the poor video production quality of last time. And we are always striving, I am always striving to see if we can make sure that you enjoy watching what you're enjoying. In that same comment section, my buddy, I think it was even Steve from Steve's Backyard Bonsai, but a couple people comment like this every once in a while, saying how they appreciated my thought process as I explained things. And I think that's crucially important for a lot of people, because if we just do things to our tree and you don't know why I'm doing them, that can be kind of hard too. But on the flip side of that is sometimes, I don't know if this ever happens to me, but we work so fast that we kind of just skip over some things. Never happens to me. What am I trying to say? It happens to me all the time. So we have to get this out of the pot and see what we're going to do with it. So before I do that, I'll give you a 360-degree view of this tree so we can kind of do the before and after. So here is the tree. I clipped some wires there, those wires hanging down the roots. There you go. I got to explain myself. I cut the wires so we can get it out of this pot. So here is the tree, which this is still one proposed front and the other front, of course, the other direction. But everything's swooping that way, of course. And as we spin it around this way, there's the other potential front. Big scar here, which will go away in time. We can maybe even scar that a little bit and help that healing process. A lot going on there, this windswept tree. Very, very fun. And will maybe this become the front? It has some fun movement there, but so does this. This goes away from us more, and this comes around at us a little bit more. But for a windswept design, I really like that it's blowing more away from us this way than blowing kind of this way and almost at us in a direction. So me personally, I'm thinking I'm leaning towards that right there. So we're going to get this out of the pot, salvage maybe a little bit of this moss that developed over the last year or so in my growing area. So I don't have a bin with me today, so I'm just going to go ahead and make a mess. Let's roll up the sleeves and let's see what we can do with this tree to get it out of this pot. Now, as I have mentioned on other videos, one of the good times to repot, not just the right time of year, spring for most trees, summer for tropicals. It's really good to repot when you get a new tree from someone else so you can kind of see what it's all about. Now, I really trust that what's in here is in good shape from our friend Candice, but now I'll get a glimpse of what's going on in this tree. I'm going to go ahead and undo the wires from the bottom so we can release this tree to secure this into place. So now I should be able to pull this right up. The tree is already starting to move. I'm going to poke that other one up through there and see where it goes. We're just going to pull that right out. Okay, so there's our tree. And there's our magnificent pot. There's a little spillway right here. I didn't even know that. We got that little hole in the pot right about here. So we'll set this aside. And then we'll start working on this root structure here and see what we've got. Got a nice football-shaped root spread. Let's tear this apart and see what we got. As I tear into the root structure of this elm, lots of akadama, like a 75% akadama or even 100% akadama. I don't know if I see too much pumice in here. The akadama is going to keep our trees moister, keep them wet longer. So trees that like a lot of water are maple trees that soak up a lot of water, especially the springtime. A little bit less in the summer with the high heat. But we like that soil that's going to keep us nice and moist longer. A little surprised as I dig into this at how many roots are in the front end of this. You know, this part of it right here, there's a big long root out here overextending over this tree. I don't know that we need that big of roots going out that direction any longer. We certainly had it anchored in there plenty well. I'm going to go ahead and shorten this right up right away out front. Don't need that big thick one here. There's a big thick root there. We're going to cut that off pretty short. We'll get in there and cut this guy off pretty short, and this guy. There we go. And the rest I still have to wait and see how much further along we're going to get here with some of the dirt and broken down akadama, which that is what the dirt is, really. Picking up the scissors one more time here to give it a little bit of a profile prune right here. Just going around the outside and making it a little bit more smaller, more compact in the root structure here. A couple of roots going up in the air. Cut those off. A thicker root, we'll cut that one off. Then when we look at the bottom, we have some of these roots like, look at that guy right there. So that's been twisting and bending in there for a couple of years. We cut that right off. We got a couple here in the center. Anytime we're working on a repot and we can see the bottom of that tree, we're going to cut off a lot of that bottom root structure. We want it to go around 360 around the tree. This root comes from way over here, then shoots across the root plane. I'm just going to cut that off, and here we go. We just take that right off there. That was cutting across. This is a really big root. Let's cut that off. And I don't know where this root's coming from, but I think we're going to cut that off. Yeah, there we go. See? And it's bending back. Look at that root structure. Curved back on itself. We don't need that. So this pot was very shallow. These roots didn't have anywhere to go. And so they start twisting around and going all different shapes. And then we can come back in here now and cut some of these big ones off and keep the fine feeder roots. And we can set this thing back in the pot and go for another couple of years. So yeah, a lot of roots shooting off the underneath part here, going off to the sides. And we just eliminated several of those roots to start leading in a different direction. This one right here, which way is that going? Actually starts on this side and grows on that side and started growing back up into the pot. Let's get rid of that guy right there. There we go. So as we look at this root structure, we have a pretty nice 365, how come I keep saying that, everybody? 360 degree, not 65, which there's not 5 extra degrees here. It's looking pretty good. I think this really would be beneficial to wash. A nice little rinsing here of all these roots that are left, and kind of the broken down akadama, which kind of turns more into that dirt than we're used to seeing in bonsai soil. We've got another big root right here. Look at that guy curling all the way around, everybody. We don't need that big root curling all the way around now, so that one's coming off. Look at that. Yeah. So we're doing a good number on this guy today. Getting rid of some of these roots that we just don't need. All right. And it'll shoot out. These grow so fast and ferociously. They grow like weeds up top. And we're going to get new root structure without much trouble. Ooh, that one fell down too. There you go. There's a couple of these windy ones in here. Look at this guy right here. Let's cut him off as well. There we go. And I think I'll leave the rest alone for the next time. Again, new tree to me. Don't know when it was repotted. I don't know exactly when it was repotted. We're going to splash this in with some water, and then we'll go from there. So there we go. After a good dunking, yeah, look at that nice windy root pattern here. Now, the one I don't like, this one right here, I don't know where it's tangled. Let's see if we can pull it out. Oh, we can. There we go. We can let that grow down, but I don't want it to grow out. So we'll just see if we'll save it. But we're just going to go ahead and cut that off right there, and hopefully it'll grow more down now. We dunked it, but there's still some soil in here. This one I think needs to go too. This one's so big and so low on the tree. Boom. We can get other of these roots here now to form out a good fanning of the 360 pattern. And it looks like there's some roots tucked in here. There's a big gnarly tangled up mess there. I don't know how much I'll clean that out right now. This stuff in here, I'm not sure where all this is going. But if you pull, you're going to find a path to somewhere. And it goes way underneath. I don't want that one. I'm going to cut that one out. There we go. And this one also is kind of winding around. So we've got to make some drastic cuts at some point with some of these roots so they can go the way we want them to go. This one I don't know where it's going or where it's coming from. So I'm going to just go ahead and reach in there and cut that one out right where it's source, right there. There's a little hole in the tree right there. Got that hole going through right there. So the root plane is below that. So that's why with some of these roots, I don't know where they're tangling from and where they go. But there's another one that I'm just going to cut out right there. So that doesn't create more tangles down the road. Then we have the semblance of a 360 root plane. And a couple of gnarly roots in here as well. And let's just kind of see how it's going to look in the pot. We can make some decisions from there. This is one heavy pot, probably 20 pounds of pot there. There we go. So it's not a deep pot by any stretch. And I had mentioned in my previous shows that I wanted to raise this up off the pot a little bit more like this to get this curl up here in that way. So I think that's the direction I'm going to go. I have to try to put that down lower or maybe cut that one off. I'm not sure. Looks like we have a little bit of a crack there, a little damage. So I'm not sure what's going on there. We almost one day could cut that whole root off for the root structure down here. But we're going to leave it. We'll tuck it into some soil. So let's get our pot ready. And then we can start thinking about how we're going to put this thing in here. Couple wires are in place, so now in order for me to see if those wires are in the right spot, and I got one more hole I can put them in, again, I'm going to have this way. Maybe it sits back here in the pot. What if we change up the whole thing and go that way? Has anybody thought of that before? This big old windswept canopy over the big wide part of the pot? What about that? What about putting it way over there? Of course, I don't think we're going to be able to tie it in very well over there. But it's kind of sitting here off this point of the pot, and it just comes in over here. Huh. Interesting. I think we'll continue with the way it was in there. We'll put it right about there, and we're going to bring it up a little bit. Okay. I do need a screen down here. We have a couple holes that are too big, and so we're going to get a little screen in here and go from there. So this was a bit unconventional. I put the mesh right there in a big old mesh conglomerate there, one big piece, and put the wire up from where we're going to tie it in. And when this is tied around the tree and holding it down, it should be just fine. The rocks will sit on here. It's not even moving that much now, so I think we'll be in good shape. I am going to put some bigs right in the middle. I got some bigs left, and then we can kind of see where this tree is going to sit. Okay. Something like that. Let's get a little bit of the mediums in there. Form our undercoating for the tree with the bigs as the draining layer. And here we go. Okay. Find that perfect spot where we like that tree. We got this much more height. It used to be down here, I think. We got a little bit more height to this tree now. I kind of like that. So I think I'm going to bring this wire underneath one of these roots over here, and we're going to get this thing, maybe I'll go this one. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Bring this one under here, and then we're going to put it around this root right here and give it a twist down. This will be our tight one. So from what I'm considering to be the front with this one and a little bit in our face, I like how we have it now. It's up this way, so we probably have to manipulate branches to make the full windswept. So it's not windswept up, but windswept out. But we can do that with a little bit of movement back down here. Let's go the other direction. I like seeing all the branches on this side. I'm still kind of favoring this side, so I think we're going to stick with that right there. And we'll get this one now over here. Underneath that one that was struggling. I think what I'll do is I'll put a little bit of soil. Let's just give it its 2 spins, 2 or 3 or 4. Let's cut off the extra. Let's go ahead and twist this into some of those littler roots down below. And tuck that down. We got that milky water coming out right now. We want that to clear up. It's pretty clear down there right now. We have a little bit of a wobble to the tree, but I don't want to tighten it down any tighter. This is going to keep it in place. We did not get this buried, so this root is just going to come right off. We don't need that one. We'll let the roots grow down below. And there we have a little bit of a showcased root on this side and a couple on this side. We can see the wire there, unfortunately, but we'll get our moss over there as well. Some of our recycled moss. We'll put that back right around the tree. And there we have our tree that is now a solid 3 inches from the bottom, top of the soil right here. And so that branch is really, all these branches are pretty flat. We got a couple going up here that we might want to just, bring them down a little bit more to make more of that windswept, true windswept down over that direction look. But I think we're in good shape. There we go. So we have a few leftover leaves on there. I don't see any new buds shooting out at the moment. I think that could be any time in the coming couple of weeks. We'll start to see some new stuff popping out on here and hope that she shoots out a whole bunch of wonderful growth. As we spin it around here, are there things we can take off? You know, this one's going a complete different direction. Maybe we cut that one off. This one's pretty close to this other one. Maybe we cut that one off. This is on the inside, kind of a curve and away. We're just going to train it that way. This interferes with this big section right there. I think I'm just going to cut that off to clean up the line there a little bit. Then we've got the 3 branches up here. We could even try to bend it more that way. This is coming at us, so let's get rid of this one. And we're going to shorten this one today. And we're going to shorten this one back over here, here, and here. I think we'll get this one cleaned up right there, and this one shortened as well. Actually, I want this one to go way down to here. Okay, so we have some movement to the right. We've got our windswept design that we're hoping is going to take off this spring with some fun new growth. Yeah, not looking too bad. And some of the cuts in here, I'm just cutting off some inside stuff that's kind of crowding out these branches down in here, going up, growing up instead of out, you know, things like that, just to kind of make these sections of tree a little bit more pad-like, all flat, laying flat, so then they don't grow up but more flat. There we go. The sun came out, so I hope you can still see the tree, because it's going to adjust the exposure on that camera of mine. So this is going to set this one up, we hope, for a really nice spring push. We got fresh soil in there. We cut off some roots. Now I can really go into a little bit more 360-degree pattern here. And yeah, we're going to hope for the best. Always a good feeling to get your repots done before they start pushing out growth. You know you've met that window. You don't have to worry. As soon as they start pushing in here, though, you get a little nervous if there's one you wanted to get to. So just a little bit of cuts here and there, just thinning out some of these inner growing areas where they're just like growing inside of a curve, that kind of thing. Like I mentioned before, straight up. I think we can just cut that one back right there. Like we got one really bizarre branch right here growing next to this big branch. We're just going to cut that off. I like how it has nice curve to it, but we don't need that right there. We also do need this one right there. So now we have this curve right here, and we might get some other new buds by those old growth spots. We've kind of gotten everything a little bit more compact now. We've got our kind of lines of this nice big branch out here, and then there's one down here. There's one in the middle here. That's not a bad spot. They are kind of close together here. There's this one that kind of crosses this one, but it's going out towards the back, so I really like that. But this middle one here could actually go someday. Maybe it can just grow, maybe it can grow and fill up this spot. So here's that branch. This one goes that way. This one goes that way. So from the top view, they cross. And if we can bring this over here and this over here more, you know, wire would do that right there. And you can see that that would look better just like that already. So maybe I don't cut them out, and maybe that's one of those wire jobs that I consider for next time. Because they are crossing. They're crossing. You just can't see them because they're over each other. So not technically crossing this way according to our front view. Well, let us keep our scissors down for today. We've done enough little damage and stress to this tree. We got it in A new bit of soil, the same pot recycled because it's such a beautiful pot for this tree. I think Candice would be happy to keep it in there. The Chinese elm is done for now, a good repot. We cleaned up some of the branches. We got nice flowing branches. And boy, what a difference about 15 to 20 hours can make, because we're inside the beautiful PSGF, because outside, winter wonderland came back, raining at 6 p.m. last night, and we woke up to this. Yeah, a lot of snow. We're kind of looking like Nigel's backyard now. About 15 hours ago, it was raining. Now 15 hours later, we've got 6 to 8 inches of snow on the ground minimum, with drifts as high as a foot or more. Whew! It'll all be melted by Sunday. I hope it'll melt by Sunday. That's going to do it for this episode. I hope you survive whatever storm you may or may not have gotten, or just another day in the life of your bonsai world. So take care of you, take care of your bonsai, and we'll catch you on the next one. Welcome to Bonsai Acres.